The sun has disappeared behind the increasing cloud cover as we welcome you to Imola for race 2, round 5 of the Italian F4 Championship on this Saturday evening, the 2nd day of August, the 5th round of the championship and the last race of what has been an action-packed day, part of this ACI racing weekend. The championship, of course, presented from the very beginning by WSK Promotion together with the Automobile Club of Italy. This is the second of 3 races here this weekend. If you missed race 1, we can tell you it was Gabriel Gomez who took his second victory of the season to move within 49 points of the still championship leader, Kin Nakamura Berta. Kin Nakamura Berta starting out of grid 3 is the series leader on 228 points from Gomez. But yes, the gap is now down to less than 2 race victories. There is the South American. He starts grid 1, pole position for the US racing team from Germany here in just a few moments' time. 39 cars on track. We're hoping for a cleaner race than we had this morning when a couple of safety car interventions interrupted the race. Let's go down and hear from Laura Colla speaking with Alex Ruta.
Alexander, you're back on grid 23, but a rookie podium is still possible. So how do you feel for the race 2?
Yeah, I feel quite confident. Quite bad quali, so now we push forward. We try coming back. Everything is possible. Maybe even some rain, so yeah, we push.
Good luck.
Alex Ruta from Warsaw or Varsavia in Poland for the Dutch Van Amersfoort racing team has been on the rookie podium already in 2025, has had a strong first year in the Italian F4 Championship. Just speaking with Laura Colla, we'll try and get a word with another rookie driver from the Middle East. Bader Al-Solati is starting just a row behind the pole for the Gensa Motorsport team. And the 2023 Qatari kart racing champion is speaking with Laura Colla.
Bader, a real positive rookie year so far, but it is tough here in Italy. So how are you finding it?
Yeah, it's my first time being in this championship. It's a very competitive championship. It's a tough grid, and we work harder every round to improve on our skills and go ahead in the grid.
Representing the nation, which of course recently hosted the FIFA World Cup, and he has acquitted himself very well. 2023 Qatari kart racing champion, also driving for the Qatar Motorsports Federation for the Swiss Gensa Motorsport team. Starts a row behind Alexander Ruta. There is the pole sitter, Gabriel Gomez. Starts at grid 1, had a super launch off the line in grid 1. Let's go down and hear from another rookie, the Mexican, Javi Herrera.
Javier, so are you confident for this race too?
Sorry?
Are you confident for this race?
Yes, I had a position grid drop this race, a shame, but Yeah, let's make up those places I lost. I'm confident.
Javi Herrera from
Much-
Mexico as this Lamborghini Huracan sets off. Just a moment away from the formation lap. Yes, a difficult race this morning. Lost the front wing, did not come into pit lane and continued on absolutely flat until he got to the exit of Tamburello and the car just understeered off the road. Guy Elbag, the innocent victim, and ran into the back of the Mexican, did the Israeli. They were both out. That brought out the safety car for the second time. Herrera was deemed to be at fault in that incident. As you look at Kin Nakamura-Berta, Nikki Kadei, team manager for the Prema Racing team. Car still up on the jacks. The Prema Racing team, sorry, it's Bondarev out of grid 2. Keen out of grid 3. As we take a look at the grid, it is Gomez out of pole position. Bondarev 27 out of grid 2. Kin Nakamura-Berta, still P1 in the championship, starts out of grid 3. Newman Chi, who won at Monza, starts out of grid 4. Third row of the grid sees Emanuele Olivieri on his 17th birthday start grid 5. Pop off. In car 3 starts out of grid 6. Salim Hanna and Enia Frey, also for the Jensen Motorsport team. The Swiss driver out of grid 8. Then we go to his teammate from Kyrgyzstan, Artem Severukian, Sebastian Weldon. Outside 5th row of the grid for the American, who's dropped to 3rd in the series, Maxim Rem. And the Jamaican, Alex Powell, the Mercedes AMG Junior, out of grid 12. Reno Francot, who took victory in the E4 series a couple of weeks ago, is ahead of the returning Andrea Dupe, Lucas Samalisto, and Bart Harrison, who was penalised after turning around Andrea Kostic in the final few laps of race 1 this morning. There is the Serbian who starts along Emily Cotti, who had a really strong run in qualifying yesterday. She starts 18 in this 39 car field. Car 42 ahead of car 45, David Walter, who's alongside Kabir Anurag. Marcus Sartre, the Norwegian with a DNF this morning, is alongside the Argentine Theo Schropp. Ruta, who just spoke to Laura Kohler a few moments ago, his Van Amersfoort racing teammate from Sydney, Australia, Dante Vinci, out of grid 24. Badir Al-Sulati, Javier Herrera, the Qatari and Mexican drivers, both for the Swiss Jensen Motorsport team, Kirill Kutzkov and Francesco Coppola for the Techno Race team, out of grid 28. The two Romanians in the field start alongside each other on the 15th row of the grid. David Cosmo Christopher and Luca Vistoriano, Ludovico Busso, the Sicilian, and the half Ukrainian, that's Alexander Savinkov. Phil Strange, the sole entry for the Slovenian AS Motorsport team. Guy Albag from Israel. Elia Weiss, the sole Cram Motorsport team driver. Peyton Westcott, the Californian, she's out of grid 36, also fighting for the women's trophy. Head of Nathaniel Barabi, Cornelia Olkutska, and Arthur Loremau, who came together with his Viola Formula Racing teammate, Ludovico Busso, at the end of the very first lap this morning, eliminating both drivers for the team from Torino in the north of Italy. Still a few moments before the start. We've had a threat of rain all day. It did come earlier in the afternoon. A slight downpour, but it is warm conditions here. Almost the mid-30s earlier in the day. It is much less than that at the moment, just 24 degrees. The track has dropped down to 33 degrees Celsius. That is 20 less than it was earlier today. But it is still very warm here, so any rain that may fall will likely dissipate very quickly. Nice to have your company as you join us around the world. The 1 minute board goes up. The second of 3 races here this weekend, round 5, the 2025 Italian F4 Championship. Gomez to the right of your screen on pole position. Great to have the support of the Brazilians, getting up very early this morning to cheer on their boy as he took his second victory of the year. It is a little bit later in the day down in South America. It was a South American one too, incidentally, with Salim Hanna from Colombia finishing in second. Gomez trying to go 2 in a row and bridge the gap to the championship leader, who starts immediately behind him on the grid. The English-born Slovakian, the former junior world champion from the land of the rising sun. That is Kin Nakamura-Berta in car 51 out of grid 3. Gomez lights up the rear Pirelli tyres nicely. as Bondarev gets away finally, quite slowly in fact. Williams Jr. puts down the visor. And the field set off on the formation lap. The shadows getting long, but at least we do have them here because the threat of rain all day. It has rained earlier in the day during qualifying for the Italian GT Championships and also race 1 this weekend of the Formula Regional European Championship. If you missed the result of that, well, I won't tell you. You can check it out for yourself. The shadows getting longer as the field make their way down through Tamburello up into Villeneuve corner, Variante Villeneuve into Tosa, and then climb up to Piratella. This is Sebastian Weldon, who dropped back to P10 over the line in race 1 this morning, came into this 5th round of the championship, tied in 2nd in the series. We take a look at the championship standings as they are after the first of 3 races here this weekend. It is a 7-round championship. This is round 5 before the summer break. Kin Nakamura Berta, 49 points clear of Gabriel Gomez, 228 to 179. The driver on your screen, Sebastian Weldon, 3rd on 155 points. Alex Powell, courtesy mainly of those 2 fantastic victories at Mugello. The Mercedes AMG Junior is 4th on 119 points. Salim Hanna and Emanuele Olivieri is 6th in the series. The field go through Alta Variante, the high chicane, and then race back down into the Rivazza curves. Bader Al-Solati going through, head of Kutskov. The 2 Romanians, Cosmo Christopher and Luca Vistoriano. Kin Nakamura Berta on your screen in car 51 comes out of Rivazza 2. The Imola circuit, which in the past has also hosted the UCI Road Racing World Championships, the World Cycling Championships, the ACDC World Tour, also Guns N' Roses and Pearl Jam at that very part of the circuit on your screen. But of course, better known as one of the most famous race circuits in the world in the heart of Italy's Motor Valley. 39 cars representing 12 teams and 27 different nations. This is race 2, the world's most competitive junior car racing series. Gabriel Gomez, the South American, on pole position for race 2 of 3 here this weekend at the home of the Emilia-Romagna Formula 1 Grand Prix. Stays on the racing line, trying to keep the tyres as clean as possible. It will be a long wait right back to the 39th car on the grid, which is the young French rookie Arthur Lorimer, who starts behind Nathaniel Berbi and Cornelia Olkutska. The 2 Romanians on your screen. This is David Cosmo Christopher, DCC, ahead of Luca Vistoriano, the PHM car. Here's David Walter, 45. Emily Cotti in 42. The Kiwi Brit, the Alpine F1 Junior, that is Kabir from Singapore. David Walter with the visor slightly cracked open. The Dane for Murphy Racing out of grid 19. A tremendous sight at the home of the Emilia-Romagna Formula 1 Grand Prix for the 2nd of 3 races here this weekend. 39 cars on the grid for race 2 of the world's most competitive junior car racing series here at Imola. Gomez to the right of your screen on pole position. We wait for Cornelia, Nathaniel and Arthur to slot in to the final rows of the grid. The green flag flies at the back of the grid as the sun sets here in Motor Valley. We race. Gomez jumps off the line, smash on the 2nd row of the grid. Newmanchi does not get away. Reminiscent and a massive crash further back. He's collected in spectacular fashion. This is reminiscent of Frasinetti and Ugochuco 2 years ago. Look at the scene here immediately. The red flag is flying. Phil Strange is involved. David Walter, there is fluid pouring out of Newmanchi's car. Arthur Lorimer unsighted from the back of the grid. Phil Strange is actually trying to drive back to pit lane, but the left rear is far from straight. Also, it looks as though Kornelia Olkutska, she's still in the car. She is okay though. A massive crash. Newman Chi from the second row of the grid stalls. Critically, it looks as though all the drivers are okay. A frightening crash here for race 2 here at Imola. And we've just been told from race control, yes, all drivers are okay. David Walter steps out of car 45. Newman Chi, who went nowhere off the line. There is massive damage though. Look at this. This is the scene. And you can see the drivers walking back to pit lane. There are some severely damaged cars. The red flag flying within seconds. A monstrous start line crash here at Imola. Take a look at this. Inside, second row of the grid. Newman Chi goes nowhere, is immediately collected by Max Popov. And then further back in the pack, Anurag just gets away around and whack one of the Gensa Motorsport cars, who's followed by Francesco Coppola. There's Arthur Lorimer. Both the Viola Formula Racing drivers are out. Burso as well. David Walter was also slow to get away, but did not stall. Got back going. Monstrous carnage here on the start-finish line. Deja vu, you may remember Frasinetti Ugochukwu at this very circuit in 2023 and the reaction from pit lane. No words needed. There is Phil Strange, who actually tried to drive back to the pit lane, but the left rear, it's actually relatively undamaged, thankfully for the AS Motorsport team. Popov's car, massive damage. 39 drivers took the start, 24 have made it through down to Tamburello. Boy, that is something thankfully we don't see very often. Immediately race control informing us that all the drivers are okay. Max Popov walking back to pit lane as Gomez, who did get a smart start, he got away nicely, unaware of what happened behind, and was greeted with the red flag as he turned down into Tamburello. There's Kornelia Olkutska. She is okay, she was unsighted. Obviously quite emotional. That was a big hit. 15 drivers, 15 involved in a frightening start line crash. Nathaniel to the left, there's David to the right. The two Maffei Racing teammates, Betterby and Walter, both out. It will be a long night for the Swiss team. There is David and Nathaniel Betterby and Kornelia Olkutska. 3 drivers at least from the Maffei Racing team out barely a few meters after the start-finish line. The red flag flown 17 seconds after the race start. Gomez leads the field back into pit lane. Massive damage. 15 cars involved in a frightening start line crash. Thankfully, and most importantly, thanks to the safety measures, the Tata's T421 chassis, the second generation Formula 4 car, all drivers, all 15, that is a massive number, are okay. Newman Chi from the outside second row of the grid, stalling and was collected by Max Popov. We believe it was Bart Harrison. I'll stand corrected on that. There's his Gensa Motorsport teammate going on through, Artem Severukian. He avoided it. Alex Powell and Sebastian Weldon. Kornelia Olkutska was involved, and she's speaking with Laura Cola.
Yeah, Cornelia, so what happened there? How do you feel?
So basically, I don't know what happened on this start. I just saw the yellow flags on the left side of me. Then one of the car almost crashed into me. I needed to brake. I spun, but I'm okay. I'm just a bit shocked, but I don't know. Almost every car is crashed, so it's awful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dziękuję, Kornelia. Almost every car is crashed. Well, In the case of the Maffei Racing Team, that is the case. Cornelia, David and Nathaniel, Olkuchka, Bernabe and Walter, 3 Maffei Racing drivers involved in that incident. A monstrous crash involving no less than 15 cars. And the red flag flies 17 seconds after the race start here at Imola. Bader Al-Sulatu, so the Maffei Racing Team with Kirill Kutzkov, he's made it through. The sole survivor for the Swiss team, Denny and Chris Maffei. 75% of the Maffei Racing Team drivers wiped out. Kirill Kutzkov has made it through. Another look. Newman Chi from the second row of the grid, collected lightly, well, relatively, by Max Popov. And then watch this. Smash into the back of Newman Chi. In fact, it wasn't Harrison. It was yet another of the Jensen Motorsport drivers. And then all hell broke loose. Both the Viola Formula drivers, David Walter almost stalling off the start. So there was another driver further back. That was Coppola. In fact, maybe not. Let's come back to that in a moment. Let's go down to Laura Cola again in pit lane.
So guys, are you okay?
Yeah, all good, safely. So yeah.
And it was not possible to visualize the situation?
Well, from my point of view, I went on the grass because like I saw on the right there were too much crashes. So I just went on the grass, but unfortunately, I think Viola, she crashed into me, so I had nowhere to go. So yeah, ended up in the wall.
Yeah, me, I'm fine as well, but you know, it was just an unlucky incident. The people in front, they were just all over the place, so I couldn't go anywhere.
It was very crazy to look at.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nathaniel Bernabe and David Walter somewhat shell-shocked along with their teammate Cornelia Olkutzka. We believe a third car may have stalled. It may have been Salim Hanna also, who did not get away. This is Phil Strange, AS Motorsport car, almost was able to drive it back to the pit lane. From that angle, it looks okay. There is damage. Relatively speaking, it is light to the left rear of car 95. News from race control, the race has obviously been reduced in length down to 25 minutes. The team here at Imola, we cannot give them enough credit. They are world class. For years, the Royal Automobile Club of Monaco were regarded as the best of the world. They may still well be, but the team at Imola, I will tell you, they are absolutely superb. The track is not far away from being cleared. As you see, yes, Salim Hanna also did not get away. So 2 Prema Racing drivers, Salim Hanna starting out of grid 7. He was actually collected by Arthur Lorimau, the second of the Viola Formula Racing drivers. This is Nathaniel Bernabe's car 22. The track is almost clear. Absolutely brilliant work from the team here at Imola. L'Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari here in Italy's Motor Valley. Max Popov's car, massive damage. He was threatening to take a race victory sooner or later. It won't be this evening. The Van Amersfoort racing driver is out. This is Cornelia's car being dragged away. Team from WSK Promotion to the left. Matteo, Luigi and Oronzo monitoring the situation, but again, the team at Imola recently hosting, of course, the Emilia-Romagna Formula One Grand Prix, maybe not for the final time. Let's just point out that next year's FIA Formula One World Championship calendar has a couple of asterisks beside it. It is provisional. We may be back at Imola after all. Maybe. Host circuit of the Italian Formula One Grand Prix. For the sole time back in 1980, the San Marino Formula One Grand Prix from 81 through to 86, and more recently the Emilia-Romagna Formula One Grand Prix. The track is now almost clear. A 15-car crash. The start of race 2, thankfully on the positive side. Well, it's not raining. Newman Chi stalling from grid 4. Salim Hanna also. 15 cars have been eliminated. 24 drivers will take the restart of this 25-minute plus 1 lap race as we get quite close to the noise curfew here at Imola, an 8 o'clock cutoff. So 25 minutes. That's assuming we get away in the next 3 or 4 minutes' time. Artem Severukian, centre of your screen, helmet off. Some drivers still in the car, some still out. Cosmo Christopher, Vistoriano, the 2 Romanians are there. We're down at least 2 Prema Racing drivers, Salim Hanna and Newman Chi. A monstrous start line crash, 15 drivers involved, but thankfully, most importantly, the red flag was flown 17 seconds after the start and all drivers immediately fine. The second generation Tata's T421 chassis withstanding the impact over the line. The back drivers, or the back markers, with respect, would have been doing well over 120, 130 kilometres an hour. Reminiscent of Ugo Ugochukwu Albano, Andrea, I should say, Frassinetti, back in 2023. Almost an identical situation on both occasions. On that occasion, and here just a few moments ago, the drivers are fine. Still waiting for word from race control regarding the restart. The track almost clear. This is the view from Tamborello down into turn 1. Fantastic work by the team here at Imola in the heart of Italy's Motor Valley. Just an update from race control. Work obviously is permitted on the race cars, 25 minutes plus 1 lap, but we do have an 8 o'clock noise curfew, 7:32 p.m. at local time. We've got 3 minutes to get this race underway. The 5-minute board will wave imminently, so that 25 minutes will likely, or possibly, it's not for me to make the decision, likely be reduced to 23 as we approach the 8 o'clock curfew here at Imola. The 5-minute board has been displayed, so the cars will leave pit lane and the race will restart. Just waiting for confirmation from race control. That the race will start behind the safety car. The clock will tick over. We may be able to get an exemption for that 8 p.m. curfew. Let's hope so. Let's hope we have a green race. If you're just joining us, a monstrous 15-car crash, which is about to become viral on YouTube around the world. 15 cars out of 39 starters in a massive crash. Race 2 here at Imola. Thankfully, all the drivers are fine. So Gomez, Bondarev, Nakamura Berta, 1, 2, 3 on the grid. Newman Chi will not be there. Olivieri will effectively be in P4. Popov will not be there. Word from race control. Yes, the race will restart behind the safety car. So Popov is not there. Hunter is not there. Enia Frey. It was Enia Frey who ran into the back of Chi. So at least 3 of the top 8 will not make the restart. The 39-car field has been reduced down to 24. Mr. Oronzo Di Bari of WSK Promotion, the centre right of your screen, under the control of our race director, Mr. Dino Lodola. Stefan and Gwen Legru from Mercedes. There is Stefan to the right. Gwen, thankful that their young charger, Alex Powell, has scraped through. The field being reset as quickly as possible. Again, enough credit cannot be given to the team at Imola. World class here at this world famous circuit. We are 2.5 minutes away from the restart of race 2 after a frightening start line crash here at Imola. Gomez would not know what happened. Well, he does now as he raced down into Tamburello. He had the lead. He had nothing but fresh air ahead and then was greeted with the red flag. Gomez will restart from P1. Bondarev out of grid 2. Kin Nakamura Berta, the championship leader critically. Grid 3, Newman Chi will not be there. Olivieri, we believe, will then move to P4. Popov is out. Massive damage to car 3 for Van Amersfoort Racing. Hunter is out. Potentially Frey, we believe, as well. Severukin, Sebastian Weldon did go by. So grid 10 for the American. In reality, by default, will become grid 6 or 7. It is not something, thankfully, we see very often. The last time was in exactly the same position in 2023. Andrea Frasinetti running into the back of Ugo Ugochukwu at 170 kilometres an hour. They were both fine. The cars were destroyed and we almost had a repeat, but this time 15 cars, like bowling pins, they did not even make it down into Tamburello. Mr. Angelo Rosin, the founder back in 1983 of the legendary Prema Racing team, in discussion with team manager, Mr. Nicky Cadet. Top right of your screen. Mr. Oronzo Di Bari, in discussion with Gerhard Unger and Anna Butner of Us Racing. And a wave there to Mr. Giovanni Minardi, who has the luxury of sleeping in his own bed tonight. Of course, his father, Giancarlo Minardi, founder of the legendary Formula One Grand Prix team bearing his own name here at the circuit as well, finishing a long and successful stint as the president of the Imola circuit. There is the Lamborghini Huracan safety car. Mr. Federico Caridi takes the wheel of that magnificent machine, which is built at Sant'Agata, Bolognese. Not more than half an hour's drive from here. I'm sure if those Alto Velox or speed cameras were not in use on the highway between here and Bologna, that half an hour trip would be something like about 8 minutes in that magnificent supercar, which is at the top of pit lane. Gomez just behind. Bondarev is there. Nakamura Berta. Newman Chi will not take the restart. Neither will 14 other drivers, 15 eliminated in one of the biggest crashes we have seen in the 12-year history of the Italian F4 Championship. Just word coming through from race control. We may not race yet. The race is being showing as suspended. Well, there is confirmation from race control. We do not race tonight. The race has been suspended, so that curfew, which is approaching rapidly in 22 minutes' time, we would not have got the full race in. We don't race tonight. So word from race control, the race has been suspended and the drivers will follow that safety car, but only as far back to pit lane. The race has been suspended. We do not race race 2 here this evening at Imola. So on a technicality, the teams were allowed to work on the cars we don't race this evening. The decision has been made by the race director, Mr. Dino Lodola. We are approaching the 8 p.m. noise curfew. The cars will drive back to pit lane. They won't race this evening. So there were some cars with relatively light damage. Phil Strange, most notably, there was only light damage. It was almost drivable. So potentially, whenever we do race, we have had a precedent in the past. So the red flag is flying, and the drivers will only make it back to pit lane here. A precedent in terms of a race being suspended a couple of times at Misano and at Vallelunga a few seasons ago, but that was due to torrential rain. That's not the case here this evening. A 15-car crash. As the sun sets, you can see the shadows are getting longer. In fact, we will almost run out of daylight, despite it being the first weekend of August here in Italy's Motor Valley. The race is suspended. The cars will drive back to pit lane, and we will wait for news from race control. 15 cars in a massive crash, potentially the biggest in the series' 12-year history. So for some drivers, yes, most notably Popov, Strange, relatively light, or, well, we say that, repairable damage to their cars. Whenever we do race, it seems as though they will be able to make the restart. Credit, although it seems as though it has been in vain for the team here at Imola, who've done, well, a small miracle to take 15 cars, some of them severely damaged, some destroyed, after a monstrous crash even before we got down into Tamburello. The race has been suspended. The red flag is flying. And there is one lap being driven here this evening, and that is under red flag conditions behind the safety car back to pit lane. For this evening, that's the ball game. Unfortunately, Gabriel Gomez from pole position Gomez was looking to bridge the gap. He already did so with his victory this morning. 49 points, none obviously awarded this evening. You can see how long the shadows are getting here in the magnificent countryside. We are about half an hour from Bologna, on the very outskirts of the Imola city township. The river in the background, the farmland on the inside of this world-famous circuit. That's the highlights for this evening, unfortunately, because we don't race after one of the biggest crashes in the series' 12-year history has eliminated 15 drivers. There is the aforementioned Lamborghini Huracan. There's Gomez, Bondarev, Nakamura Berta, Olivieri. So apologies, it was not Annie Affray. He did escape. It was another of the Jensen Motorsport cars. May well have been Theo Schropp. Either way, it is irrelevant. We will bring you up to date. Don't forget to check out the official pages of the Italian F4 Championship on social media for all the updates, as well as the official site, f4championship.com. Gomez from pole position drives back, well, as far as pit lane. The red flag flying. We don't race this evening. Frustration, annoyance, but thankfully, most importantly, the 15 drivers involved in one of the biggest crashes in the series history, they're all fine. Well, we've seen many a game of football called off after just a kick-off due to conditions. Trying to find the sporting equivalent. We don't race this evening as Gomez, behind the safety car, leads the field back to pit lane without racing a single lap. We raced for 17 seconds, but one of the biggest crashes in the series history has eliminated 15 of 39 drivers here this evening. Something of an anticlimax, but thankfully the drivers are fine. Thank you for watching. We'll bring you up to date when we do finally race once again the Italian F4 Championship. Good evening from Imola.